heart of this film is the relationship and the love, the really deep, genuine love between Lucy and Jane. And I think how they kind of grow together and they learn from each other and allow that space to be created within their friendship. So I would love to know, as co-collaborators on this project, co-directors, how did y'all create that space for each other to learn and grow as artists through this process?
It's interesting because we talked a lot about that just in terms of talking about the script, and we've been together for almost 10 years. And I think such an important thing in any relationship is allowing someone to change and allowing that, to evolve together and go, okay, you're going to become somebody that I didn't originally meet, and I'm going to meet you where you are. And I want to embrace that. And I think in talking about that in the film and then having it in our own relationship was kind of cool to sort of check in with each other and go, yeah, we both value that.
That's beautiful. And I feel the same exact way. I talk about this to my husband all the time. You really are always, you're never not growing. And if you are, and if you think you're not growing, that you're just lying to yourself. And
Yeah.
a partnership, platonic or romantic or what, any type of creative, any type of partnership, you need to recognize that growth will happen, and that adaptability that we have to have is so important. Tig, what about you?
I mean, I think that, very much exactly what Stephanie said. And I think that in our process of going through this co-directing, it's also just been an opportunity for us to kind of fall into place more than ever of where we feel like we belong in projects and what we really want to do in projects. And that in itself has changed since the day we met each other. And it's an exciting change and exciting realizations. And I feel like this project was really valuable and a pivotal moment in our lives and careers. And so I'm thankful for it in ways that maybe aren't so obvious to the outside world.
That's really lovely. I mean, I think that there's, at least for me watching this film, this may sound cheesy, but I could kind of like feel that. I could feel the
That's great.
because I think that the level of authenticity and like in the performances and I think in the performances that y'all helped bring out and collaborated with these two brilliant actresses, just felt so raw and real and vulnerable, funny as hell, and just true to life. And it felt very much like love and was poured into it, and that there was a kind of personal process behind the scenes. But anyways, that's just so beautiful.
That's so nice. I'm so glad. That's so nice to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to talk a little bit too. I loved how we have a character, Lucy, who's discovering her sexuality in her 30s. Why is it important to have representations of people discovering either their sexuality or really anything about themselves at any age and every age, not just in the coming of age context?
Totally.
I always talk about this, but I was asked to interview these two people from a documentary in this film festival in New York. And the documentary was about this man and this woman getting into stand-up comedy in not just their 80s, but their late 80s. And when I sat down, when I was asked, to pick these different what movie I would want to to sit on stage with the subjects for, I was like, this one. And so it was just incredible sitting there with these two, I mean, late 80s and just beginning and not like, oh, aren't they so old and cute and sweet and so we'll say they're funny. They were laugh out loud in all of the perfect, shocking ways that comedy just hits you from behind. And it was so inspiring for me as a comedian. I'm 50. I've been doing stand-up for 25 years, for half my life. And just speaking to them and seeing how they made this decision to pursue their dreams, a little over 10 years away from 100 years old, was so inspiring to me to do what I want to do and to continue to do what I've been doing. They made me excited about stand-up again.
I love that. I got to look up that interview because I have a million questions that I don't want to. They're going to get mad at me if I ask now. But
and just to add to that, I also feel like there's just such an emphasis in culture on someone accomplishing something young, or the fact that like it's, you know, it's of value the younger you are to do something. And I think that's just so unfortunate because it makes people feel late, and it makes people feel like at any age, if they haven't already done something, it's not worth doing, or that they somehow missed the boat. And what is so great about this story, and that I relate to in my own sort of finding my sexuality later, is just what's on the other side of that when you decide to really make the decision to be yourself and act on it. You can't believe there was ever a version where you didn't.
yeah.
And so that's what I love so much about the character of Lucy, is I just related to that so much, of the like beating yourself up because you're late and wondering what you missed and thinking it's not worth it. And then in kind of crossing over, going like, oh, it's so worth it. And I'm finding I was never as happy as this.
Yes. And I think that's what I think is so profound about this film, is the layers of kind of what you just spoke about, because the shame that Lucy is feeling is not linked to necessarily her sexuality. It's linked to the fact that she's a 32-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Who's so silly for vocalizing how she's feeling at that age.
Right.
I think that it's rooted into sort of the societal norm. I mean, this is a societal idea that you know, we have to know exactly who we are and what we want at a certain age, and also the fear that those norms have put, especially on women, to kind of have it all figured out because of the quote unquote clicking time clock, whatever.
Right.
Bullshit. But it's I just found that so profound that she, you know, and I thought it was really refreshing too, that the emphasis is not on like necessarily her sexuality. It's on her,
right.
you know, coming to terms with something at the age that she is. And then
Right.
how beautiful to see her grow and go through that change independently, like with just herself.
Yeah.
Is really inspiring. And I have to also say, Tig, hearing you talk about how you were inspired by that couple, and I'm inspired by you and Stephanie, because, you know, I'm 36 years old and I'm doing things that I've always wanted to do, and it's just starting now, and who cares? And so thank you.
But also that it might even be better. Like,
I think it's better. I'll make the statement that I think it is better.
Right. You've gone through
worrying about all the other bullshit. Like when we're in our 20s, like, or even, you know, early 30s, that we have so much, oh my gosh, the BS that our brains take up.
Right.
That we still are, you know, learning how to let go of. I don't think that ever ends. I don't know, maybe the 80-year-old couple have figured that out, but I don't know if we'll ever figure that out.
Well, they're not a couple. They're not a couple.
Not. I don't know why.
They're just friends.
they just happen to be these two old people, almost 90 years old, doing stand up for the first time, and they're doing open mics. They're going
I
on
think I
tour.
gotta watch this interview, this doc. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, I think it's called Still Standing.
Oh, that's a great title. It's very
Yeah.
fitting. Let's talk about your title, the Am I Okay? I think that like I would love to sort of talk about how y'all play in this film with the nuanced ways of not being okay, of being okay, what that kind of means to each individual. Yeah, can we talk a little bit about that?
Well, about each, you're saying about each character?
Yeah, like, or just how I think that you both beautifully explore in this film how not being okay can kind of look differently on other people, and this idea of also what does it even look like to not be okay, and how not being okay actually leads us to grow and change and become better versions of ourselves. But it's because with Lucy, she goes through this process, this transformation. Like she physically like cries a lot in the film.
Yeah.
She's really like shedding it. And
Yeah.
but with Jane, her not being okay or her going through that transformation looks very different on her.
Right. And it's very similar. And I think what I love about that title and that question is that it conveys that it's an internal struggle, and that you're asking yourself and you're asking others, but you're going, is something not right? Like, am I off here? Am I missing something? And am I okay? It's kind of like the greatest question, and can go in many different ways. But I think when you look at Lucy and Jane, their codependency and their dynamic fed each other's weaknesses in a lot of ways. And throughout the film, you see them sort of have to both admit those and bring them to the surface and decide if they were going to stay that way. And if they both were going to stay that way, I don't think the relationship would have endured. And if they choose to evolve, then there might be something on the other side. And so we talked a lot about the title, and that kind of came much later, but it seemed very fitting because it's so simple.
And it encompassed everything. And yeah, so many different titles that were really wrong.
Titles are hard.
Yeah.
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 Titles are so
Yeah.
hard. I was shocked to hear, I don't know if y'all heard this stat, but although 50% of the selected films of this year's Sundance Festival were directed by women, only 28% of the submissions were from women, which leads me to kind of believe that because there's enough female storytellers out there. I know that. So it leads me to believe that there's still this fear of, why even bother submitting? I'm not going to get in, or my point of view is invalid, or I just would love to hear kind of your advice to those filmmakers out there who feel like, well, why should I even embark on this journey? And hopefully so we can get those numbers up to 50 and 50.
Well, I think first of all, you have to not be doing it for a festival, and you have to not be doing it for anything other than yourself. And because there's nothing in the world that is going to stop you from making something or doing something. And it cannot have anything to do. That's how I feel with, oh, go ahead, Stephanie.
No, I agree. And I was just going to add, I think that also is exactly what we're talking about, of just questioning yourself. And obviously, the world needs to rise and there needs to be like an evening out of just opportunity in general. But I also think, I came up from the improv and sketch world, and there were a lot of hilarious women and there were a lot of hilarious men. And we were sort of in the beginning of stages of this company, Funny or Die, which was like online sketch videos. And I watched all the men that I came up with start directing those videos. And these weren't guys who had gone to film school. They didn't know anything about film. They were just super funny. And they were like, yeah, I can direct that. And simultaneously, the women who were as equally funny and equally as qualified were like, well, I don't really know technical stuff, or I don't really know how to do that. I didn't go to film. And so this idea that you first have to be so perfect and qualified and trained and all these things in order to do it, which is great. Yeah, get the experience, but like you might just be fine and you might be capable. And it's just a matter of going, yes, I'm putting myself in the ring.
You might be okay, to go back to the title.
Okay to be okay. Okay to just be okay. And it's so true. I'm a Virgo, so
Me too.
So you like high-fiving the screen? Yeah. So I know way too well about the having to be perfect before you do it.
Yeah. And
that's why I'm 36 and doing this now. But it's so true. And Tig, to your point, it's like the only thing stopping you is you.
Yeah.
Which also is a beautiful reflection kind of this film. It's like Lucy going on her own journey to like, no one's judging you. You gotta let that self-judgment go.
And the truth is actually the opposite, that I think most of your closest friends are rooting for you to be more yourself.
Yeah.
And rooting for your happiness. They're not going like, what are you thinking? That's not who you are.
You idiot. Don't do that. That's what I love too. I mean, it's like in a lot of other films, you could have had the best friend be like, oh, that's so weird that you like, but no, she's like right away, it's like,
let's go.
Yeah. She's like, let's go. And it's just like it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm so excited for the whole world to see this film. And I'm gonna like yell it on the mountaintop. Am I okay? I'll be like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. But in honor of, this is a silly little fun question to end on, but in honor of Lucy's predictable lunch order, I just thought that was so fun. Veggie burger and sweet potato fries, and then her being like, omelet today. Watch me grow, baby. Watch me grow.
I've matured.
Yeah, I've matured. My digestive system has also matured. Do y'all have a go-to order?
I mean, I feel like I love a bowl, sweet potatoes and spinach and mushrooms and quinoa.
Oh, Tig, you healthy. Yeah. I like a bowl too. I always go for a bowl, like a grain bowl, like a rice bowl or a quinoa bowl. I'm with you on that. All right. Yeah. Stephanie, what do you?
Well, I will say I'm a big salad person, but in my truest of hearts, I think I'm a pizza person.
You want to be a salad person, but you're actually a pizza person.
I'm a salad person, but I'm really into pizza. I don't think there's anything better.
Yeah. Are you like even like a flatbread gal, or you're just like,
I will take it any way it comes. Tig and I are both vegan, but vegan pizza is number one. And I've told Tig used to have a podcast, and I have said many times that I think I could
still have two podcasts.
The one I said it on is but I think I could eat 2 large pizzas, and there was going to be a pizza eating competition where I can prove this, and I've yet to have the opportunity.
So where your favorite, I'm sorry, like this is just me being, selfish right now, but I would love to know where your the best vegan pizza spots in LA.
Pura Vida.
All right. Well, I will let y'all go. Thank you so much for your time today. This has been lovely, and just congratulations on the film. Can't wait to see the other projects. y'all co-direct in the future, I know they'll be absolutely, you know, just as stunning as this one. So
Well, thank
keep
you.
it up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.